craziest chess game you have ever seen in the craziest chess match of all time. Hans Niemann, the very famous name in the chess world, is playing against Daniel Dubov, a very strong Russian grandmaster. You probably know the history. Daniel Dubov decided to not play against Hans Niemann in the FIDE World Blitz Championship, and after that Hans called him a coward and they had lots of tweets, but Hans offered to play over the board blitz match to settle everything down at the chessboard. And now we are going to see the sixth game of this match when everything is draw 2.5 to 2.5, and you're going to see a very intense battle, a very nervous battle between these two. Daniel Dubov in this game had the white pieces and Hans had the black pieces. Dubov started this game with pawn to c4, so 2.5 to 2.5, 3+2 blitz chess. Fascinating game. We have English opening, we have bishop e7, e3, f5, d4, everything is coming. They are developing their pieces, castle, and now b3 he wants to, and now pawn to f3 he wants to control this e4 square. Very important. f3, bishop to e6, and bishop to b2, fianchettoing this bishop. Remember this bishop, this is going to play a huge role in this game. And now pawn to e4 was a good move, but Hans with the black pieces plays knight d7, queen c2, attacking this e4 pawn. e4 was an option to sacrifice this pawn, but Hans says no, I'm not going to sacrifice. Here castle for Dubov was a better move, but he decides to attack. He wants to checkmate Hans Niemann's king, but now e4 is very strong because after takes we have this knight g4 option all the time. But Hans and Dubov both overlooking this idea. Queen to a5, trying to use this pin in this diagonal. Now long castle for Dubov, but he says no, I'm just going to play a3. Bishop f7, nobody can found that unless he is a cheater. Rook to e8 by Hans, he wants to probably play e4, and here Dubov plays long castle. He probably wants to push these pawns and he wants to attack this king, but Hans plays b5. He says I'm going to attack your king. In this position Dubov could have taken the pawn, or probably playing b4, queen c7, and then take the pawn. He's a pawn up. Okay, I understand there is a pressure on the c line and against this king in the queen side, but it was a better idea. But Dubov says, you know what, I'm just going to attack you, g4. And here from now on you can see a very crazy chess game. So Dubov wants to open up things, but b takes c4. B takes c4. Hans is the first one to open up things, and now a very brilliant move by Hans. He plays e4, and now you have to take because the bishop has nowhere to go. So when you take, there is knight takes g4. Even f takes e4 was good, but knight takes g4, very strong move. Knight takes e3, knight f2, everything is coming. He plays d5. He says I'm going to just attack you. d5, opening up this bishop, I'm not going to care. But Hans plays another brilliant move in this position. He plays knight to c5, a very interesting move. The idea is to take on e3, and this queen has nowhere to go after that. If you take on e6, knight takes e3, and where this queen can go, if you go to b1, believe it or not, there is checkmate on the board. Oh my god, knight b3, and here black wins the queen. So in this position Hans Dubov plays knight d4. He was 2 points ahead in the match early on. He lost 2 games, and now if Hans wins this game, he is going to be 3.5 to 2.5. So Dubov should be careful, and Hans just took on e3, queen e2, and he plays a strong move, bishop f6. Hans playing the best moves in the game, and here everything is collapsing for white. If you take on e3, you're just going to lose like this. Knight to b3, this king is vulnerable, so this is not possible. Here knight takes c6, no, not here. Knight takes c6 is suggested by the ng, but it's going to be losing. It's 3 plus minus 3 for black. So Dubov plays e5, an interesting move. He wants to complicate things. This is a blitz game, everything can happen. Knight takes d1 was a game finisher, but after rook takes d1, bishop d7 may be a hard line to calculate. Hans says just give me the pawn, but now knight takes c6, and now we can understand why Dubov plays like this, because he wanted to take the bishop. But knight takes d1, attacking this. Knight takes d1 was better, but this is nerves. This is nerves in this game. Knight takes d1 was better, but he just plays queen takes d1 and d takes e5. Once again, Hans is winning. If you take on e6, which happened in the game, rook b8 was over. The game was over. Like something like this, rook fd8. If you play, I don't know, bishop a1, rook fd8, knight d5, knight b3, check, knight takes a1, something like this. And at the end of the day, black is going to checkmate. Probably like this, something like this. I analyze something like this, and black is going to win the game. But look what happened. Look what happened. This is going to be crazy. This is going to be crazy. In the game, Dubov took on e6 and knight takes d3. Everything disappeared. Now white is going to be better. He has two minor pieces versus rook. And after rook, queen takes e6, knight d5. Okay, h5 was better, but you can see that there is life for white position. He plays knight d5, and now f4, another strong move by Hans. But h5, he wants to checkmate him on this diagonal. Queen to f5 and queen to b3 and pawn to g5. Hans has three connected passed pawns. If he is not going to be checkmated, then he's going to win the game. And this is very hard to play in this position for the white pieces, because these pawns are just coming. He plays c5. He wants to discover the attack with his knight, but he plays king h8 and now rook e1 and now pawn to f3. Suddenly, once again, black is winning. Knight c7 was better, but this is already under 10 seconds in this position. So rook e1, now pawn to f3, knight to e3 and f2, and now queen e4. Hans is completely winning. Queen c3 is setting up some threats on this long diagonal, but now rook to f3. How are you going to defend? And now he plays king to d2. Both players down to seconds in this position, and Hans Niemann played a very, very strange move. Here, something like g4 would have won the game. I don't know, even maybe h6 would have won the game. But g4, g3, g2 is winning in this position. Whatever you do, just don't play rook to b8. And Hans played it. He just played rook b8. And now queen takes e5 is winning the rook. Queen takes e5, bishop takes e5. It's over. But guess what? Guess what? Dubov doesn't saw that. And he plays bishop to a1. Because of time trouble, of course. And now rook d8 is winning. Rook d8 is completely winning. Even something like this. King e2, rook takes e3, queen takes e3, queen c2, and rook to d3. And if you take on e5, I have simple king g8. And this position is winning for black. But you know what happened? You know what happened in this position? Hans Niemann just fastly played rook to, after this, he played just fastly rook f4 and queen takes e5. And he couldn't believe what happened. After queen takes e5, white is completely winning. He's going to win a rook, queen takes e5, and now bishop takes b8. And white won this game. Very, very crazy chess match. And Dubov just won on seconds. And this is the battle of nerves when everything is going to depend on these games, and if loser have to answer one question on the polygraph, everything like this can happen. At the end of the day, Dubov was ahead in 9 games, 5.5 to 3.5. This is a very fascinating chess match. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if this is the case, please like the video and share it with your friends. Enjoy chess and life.